Hello, everyone. We're back. This is The Undergraduate, a percussion-based podcast from repertoire to everyday life lessons. We are seeking to share our experiences as current students, and today we have another special guest with us, Randall Nguyen, who recently graduated from Lamar with a Bachelor's of Music Education, emphasis on percussion, in 2018. And his most recent job that he has right now is with Coppell Independent School District, and he started in the fall of 2018, and up until now, and he's the Assistant Director of Percussion Studies. So Randall, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. This is cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're just going to kind of jump right into it. We're going to just kind of go down the list of questions here.
Actually, before we started, Randall, do you want to talk about what you do for Coppell every day?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
sure. What kind of thing you do?
For sure. Well, I mean, disclaimer first. If I just randomly laugh in the middle of this podcast, I'm probably most likely laughing at Michael. And just the way he's staring at the camera.
Do this to me every day.
No, I never.
You bully me every day at Lamar.
That's not true.
Anyway.
I never bullied you.
So.
Okay. Yeah, thanks again for having me. So yeah, like Shane said, I'm the Assistant Percussion Director at Coppell Independent School District. My day-to-day goes as I teach 7th and 8th grade percussionists at the middle schools in the morning. And the afternoon block, we have the high school class. We do block schedule, so like the percussion class is like the last 2 hours of the day. And it's cool because I get to see them like every day for like 2 hours, like every week. And if it's marching band season, we go straight into after-school marching band. So, I mean, some days we'll be like like playing drums for almost like 5 hours straight, pretty much, which is cool, but also not cool because that's a long time. But and in the spring, it is Texas. In the spring, we usually have like sectionals after school for our percussion ensemble concert, or they have like after-school sectionals with their bands and stuff like that for like UIL and stuff. Yes, sir.
Cool.
So that's my day-to-day usually.
Awesome. And again, I guess before we start, how are you doing with all this this quarantine stuff? And
man, it was it came really quick, honestly. Like I it happened like spring break, like for us.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was on break for spring break, and then like I haven't been back since then. Like it was like early March, and I'm here in Beaumont with my family and my parents' place, and I haven't been back to Dallas yet. Or I've been back once to end the school year. We had to like check-ins and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't seen the kids since like March.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy because it's like July now. But we ended the year doing like just online stuff. Like
Gotcha.
the middle school kids, we work out of this book called Super Hands by Doug Bush. And I had lesson plans each week for them. And like I'd sometimes play as like an example, but sometimes they were just given assignments like to play out of it and record themselves and then upload it, and I would grade them and stuff like that. Same with the high school kids. They just had random assignments, and it wasn't just playing. It was like playing and then like some writing assignments. Like they got to like write a solo of any instrument they want. And then also like listening assignments too. Like we made a YouTube playlist, and they had to like listen and take notes, and then like had like open-ended conversation and stuff about it. So we were able to get pretty well-rounded with all the virtual stuff, thankfully. So
cool.
Yeah, that's how the year ended. And then we also had drumline auditions at the end of the year, and those were kind of weird too, cause
how did that go? How was that working?
Pretty much it was like the same situation. Like we had like a packet, and they got the packet, and then they just uploaded everything through like a YouTube video. And it couldn't be like play and then cut it and then like play again. It had to be like straight through, like an actual audition, you know? Like, so not just so they can't get like the best rep of it and then just add it in like the next one. We wanted it to be like a live audition somewhat.
Gotcha.
So they had to play everything straight through with the met changes and everything. So that went better than I expected, honestly. Because like the way we did it, all of our staff had to grade them, and then we had like a spreadsheet, and then we had like a meeting to talk about it, and then it wasn't too bad. So
cool. Yeah, it's awesome. So now they're on that top.
Plan
No, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
You guys have planned for marching band yet?
I was about to ask that actually.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so I don't know if you guys know, but the government said finally, I think, that we're not allowed to start in school, like in person, until September 7th for like high school kids,
Oh,
or
wow.
like just public school in general. We haven't really gotten to a point to where we decided what we're gonna do yet at the beginning of the year, because we're supposed to start. Well, our percussion camp was supposed to start Monday, like this coming Monday, and then band camp was gonna be the week after that. And the next week, the percussion camp's gonna be like virtual again. So we had a virtual camp in May, and we're gonna do that again. It's just split up into sectionals, and then we have like teachers for each one, like private lessons instructors and stuff. But as for like marching band, it's crazy because a lot of the schools in the North Texas area are like, I don't want to say it's like a cult, but it pretty much is. It's like all the big schools like are joining together and like saying like, hey, we're not going to do any competitive marching band stuff because it's too big of a risk for like all the kids being in one area. And it's not just like the contest itself, it's like the transportation. Like being in a bus with like 70 something kids is not the ideal place for coronavirus, you know? Or it is ideal for corona, but not the way we want it.
Gotcha.
So,
Nice.
yeah. I don't think we're going to have a competitive season. So,
Wow.
but yeah, we're just going to plan as we go because nothing has really been announced yet in terms of Texas-wise. Like, nothing UIL or BOA because we do a lot of BOA and UIL shows. And nothing has really been announced yet that I know of saying that we're not going to have any competitive marching band. So we're just going to plan as that goes.
Unfortunate times, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's more weekends free for me, so I'm not really not complaining too much. But
Yeah, I think we've said it a couple times. Just like it's also just kind of good to just decompress from life, you know.
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, okay. Are we all good? Let's kind of jump into it. And I believe Hope, you've got the first one lined up here.
So I guess now that you have a view of online stuff and like in-person stuff, do you think you could see yourself having your own program?
I definitely think so, for sure. Like, it's something that I aspire to have one day. Being here at Coppell, like I definitely get to put like my hand in a lot of things without having to take like pretty much like the big boy responsibilities. Like a lot of the email parents, like the parents' emails are like, yo, why is my kid not blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh cool, I just forward it to whoever. I don't need to deal with this. So that's always nice about that. But yeah, I definitely look forward to having my own program for sure, because like it just depends on also like who you'll be teaching with, because like I think that matters a lot, like the people you'll be seeing like every day, because like you'll be basing like your teaching styles and like stuff like that off of like what they're doing and stuff. So it just really depends, honestly, where I'll be, and has to be like the right place too. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I guess this one kind of ties into that too. If you did get a program of your own, would you want it to be more established, or would you want to build your own from the ground up, like totally from scratch?
Yeah. That's a hard question, because like there's nothing wrong with either one for sure, but like there's something that feels good about like starting like from the ground up and just building your own, like that's something that's under your name, you know. And it's like what's hard about that is that it takes so long, because like say you start your kids in like 6th grade, and like you won't, when they're a senior, that'll be like 7 years, so you really won't see like the fruits of your labor until like another 5 to 7 years, you know. So it takes a lot of patience to build your own program, which I don't really have patience, to be honest. It kind of sucks, but like I'm working on it, because but yeah, it takes 5 to 7 years just to even see like how things go, because the previous directors, like it takes a while for them to like buffer out, you know, like their kids.
Yeah.
So it has to like pretty much just lay over if you build your own program and stuff. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I change the question a little bit? So I think
Sure,
even
Michael.
a better question is, what are you looking for when you're applying for jobs? Like, what quality are you actually looking for?
Wow, that's a good question. It goes back to like what I said earlier about the right group of people, like it really.
Like the principal.
No. Just like your
like the coach.
like your teaching staff, like the coworkers, like the band staff, just making sure. Oh, did we lose somebody?
Hope.
No, I just need to check something.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't know you guys were gonna notice that. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm good. Go ahead, keep going. We're good.
Yeah. So like, it goes back to like the first answer. Like, it really depends on who you're working with, like, just like the teaching style and like how things have been going in the past. Like, obviously, like when you're first applying for a job, you can't really choose that. You know, you kind of like. When I first started applying for jobs, you can ask Michael. Like, I got a couple interviews, and I got a couple offers, and then I'd be like, Michael, dude, what do you think about me going here? And Michael would be like, I don't know, really. And they'd be like, I'm sorry, Michael, I had to do it. I had to do it at least once in the
impression, though. If you want to do an impression, do it better.
Oh.
Okay, I'll do it better later.
Okay.
But yeah, when you first apply, it's like you can't really choose that stuff. You know, you kind of just gotta get with what you get, and then like, yeah, it really just depends on the area of like what I'm looking for. Cause like being at this 6A school now, doing all this stuff, it'd be a really big culture change if I went to like a smaller school and like didn't do as much stuff. Cause like nothing wrong with it for sure. Cause like there's pros and cons to both, you know, but it'd be definitely a different culture, you know. So if looking towards like the future, I would want something similar to what I'm doing right now, like school wise, staff wise, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
If that answers your question, Michael.
Sure. What about money? Do you look at the pay and just be like, ooh,
I think the school demographic matters more than the money.
okay.
Like where you're working and like how the kids are and stuff like that. Because like I can get paid all the money in the world, but if the kids aren't motivated to do anything, I'm not working there. You know what I'm saying? Because that just
Nice.
makes your job terrible, and like
That's right.
you wouldn't want to be there either.
Nice.
Wow.
Great answer.
Wise word.
That's the only one you
Wise-
get though. That's the only good answer. I'm not giving you any more for the rest of the podcast.
Okay, yeah, so I was kind of thinking we'd just move through these like top questions from all of us, and then we'll move to the second bulleted questions.
Second bulleted.
Yeah.
You didn't give me those second
No,
bulleted.
I
How am I
did,
supposed
I
to
did.
write this down?
I did.
Okay,
Don't
fine,
worry.
Fine.
So mine was so in terms of getting the job, what was that whole process like?
I can just kind of walk through how my experience was.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was my first job out of school, like professional wise out of school. I've had like teching jobs and stuff before that, but I student taught in the spring of 2018, and then like a lot of people started like taking interviews and job interviews and stuff in like March, and I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to start doing that. I didn't start until like April or May, which is kind of my fault. I should have started earlier, but I was applying for like everything on Team EA, not everything, but like most of the stuff on Team EA. I was getting some phone interviews and some in-person interviews and stuff like that, but nothing really like felt like the right place. I had a couple offers too, and it was just like, I'm not really sure. I'm sure Michael could tell you all the offers I got, but it was
what was that one that you almost went to?
at
It was-
Jasper.
yeah, Jasper. There.
Yeah. It was a lot much
It's-
smaller school than what I would be at. What I'm
It's
at
still
right
in
now.
Southeast Texas area.
Yeah. Yeah, and the biggest thing was like choosing where I applied for mattered a lot, because I wasn't sure if I was like honestly ready to leave like my family so far, you know? Like the jump to Dallas was like literally, I've never like lived anywhere besides like Beaumont, Texas, where I am right now, you know? So making that big of a move 5 hours away and only see my parents like once or twice a year was very like I wasn't sure if I was ready for that, but I mean I still did it anyways because it was a job.
Yeah.
But so like the process went to, I was applying, and then stuff wasn't really working out the way I wanted, so then I went to TBA. You guys know that convention, the Texas Bandmasters Association convention. It happens over the summer, like July. Me and a couple of friends went to that, and I also had like a couple of interviews there, like in person with other people. And it was weird because I was there, And then a guy named Jesse Weinkoff. He teaches out at Little Cypress Mauriceville High School. He's a percussion director out there. He came up to me as I had just finished doing an in-person interview, and he was like, "Yo, dude, are you still looking for a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I'm just walking around here and doing whatever." And he's like, "Okay, well, I just got this email from this lady from Coppell Independent School District." I'm like, What's that? Where's that? I've never heard of this place." And so he was like, "Yeah, she's looking for like an assistant percussion director. Do you mind if I give her your email?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And it was like after that, it was kind of just like I didn't really expect to hear back anything. But then like the convention ended, I went back home and I got an email from her, and she was like, "Hey, I got your email from a guy who recommended you. Would you have time for like would you mind sending me your resume and letter of intent and stuff like that?" I said, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't know how things are gonna work out." So it was kind of just like at that point where I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I go back to grad school or something. But somehow things worked out, and then it was weird because the timeline for that was really quick. She emailed me on Sunday. I interviewed with her on Monday. That went well. I interviewed with the head band director Tuesday. That went well. And then he sent me to the assistant principal on Wednesday, which also went well. And then she called all my references just to make sure I was okay and stuff. And then that Thursday they offered me the position. So it happened within like 4 days.
Wow.
And then they were like, "All right, so can you come up tomorrow to sign your papers?" And I was like, "Tomorrow? That's Friday. That's in Dallas. Can I?" And she's like, "Yeah, tomorrow sounds good." And I was like, "All right, I guess I'm doing this." So I drive up that same night, Thursday night after getting the call. I signed my papers Friday morning, and then I had to drive back here to get all my stuff. And then I came back to Dallas on Sunday, which was also my birthday. So I spent 5 hours moving my life to Dallas on my birthday.
Wow.
And then I got there like super late, and the next morning we had like a new hire breakfast, and that was the first time I had met anybody in person at Coppell. Like before that, it was just like all email and like phone call interactions. And like when you first start somewhere, like that first couple weeks honestly is gonna be super hectic because 1, you have to learn everyone's names, and 2, you gotta get them right. Because like I've called a couple people by their wrong names, and they just gave me funny looks, and I just kind of like just walk away. Pretend like it didn't happen.
Like students or like people in the faculty? Both. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's also bad whenever you don't know the principals' names.
Oh no.
Like so I had to learn them quick. And wait, what was the question? The interview process. No, wait. The process of getting the job. Yeah. So like really like you just got to get out interviews and like just the letter of intent, resume, and stuff like that.
I had a question about you said you went to that other convention where you got the reference to get your name sent out. Were you doing interviews there based off of the applications from TMEA, or were those just like were those?
They were like half and half.
Okay.
So like
what was the other half then?
Like just
word
people,
of mouth or
yeah.
Okay.
Like some directors from like other schools saying like, "Hey, this guy needs a percussion director." So like email them and ask if you can have an interview at TBA, because like a lot of interviews were happening at TBA, like at just some coffee tables in like the convention center and stuff like that.
Okay.
So half and half for like TBA, half and half for like by word of mouth. So
gotcha. Okay.
It's really all about just like knowing people and getting your name out there and just like applying for stuff. Like even if you don't think you're gonna get the job, you can just apply for the experience, because like that experience matters more than anything. Like
gotcha.
That interview experience, like the more you do, the better you'll get at it. Obviously, you know. So yeah, just apply for jobs.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, since we're
Nice.
on that topic, can you give us like any tips on interview and how you will stand out against like other applicants?
Yeah. So you want to be like firm, but like also very open to as like what they want to do. Cause like this is kind of a bad question for me, because like I only did like a few interviews, and that was also like 2 years ago, so I remember nothing.
Yeah.
But like you just gotta be like open to what they want to hear, like obviously, and like be super nice and courteous, because like at the end of the day you're working with kids, you know, and if they know that you're gonna be like good to them, there's no reason you wouldn't be good to the kids. So I think to make yourself stand out is like be sure of what you're saying, like know what you're gonna say to them, and like be confident about it, and like not to the point to where it sounds like cocky, but like more as if like you know what you're doing, you know.
Gotcha.
So
Have you ever asked your head director why they choose you and stuff like that? No, is that a weird question?
no, I can't remember. Have I? I asked. I wasn't sure if this was like a appropriate question, but I asked like how many people interviewed for the job I got. She said, "Oh, like I don't know, like a few," and she didn't give me a straight up answer. But like the head band director apparently told the kids that like there were like 50 something people, and I was like,
Wow.
that's not real. There's no way. So I don't know. I have asked Annie Chernow. She's the percussion director at Coppell High School. I have asked her like, why did you hire me? Like, why did you think I was good for this position? She's like, I don't know. You just seemed like a nice guy, and you were like relatable, and you just seemed like you'd get along with us really well.
Cool.
So I mean, yeah, it's just being able to relate to who you're interviewing with, honestly.
So is it you two that are like kind of the head percussion people there, or?
Yeah. Like we're
Okay.
both at the middle school and the high schools, and then we have like private lesson staff, and also like tech staff as well, which they're kind of like the same because they do private lessons and they tech for like the drumline and marching band and stuff like that. So, but it's usually just us two doing most of the programming, and she's taking care of the emails, and I just sit back and listen to music and stuff like that. So,
Cool.
but yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Shane, I
Yeah.
think this is a good time to
It is. I was about to get
put
to
the
it.
first email.
Yes. So we
questions.
got our first email, first one with the
What?
undergraduate.
Email
We got an
question?
email
Whoa.
from a random listener. This is huge for us.
Dude, moving
It's
on
not
up,
a random
man.
listener. It's a listener.
It is. It's a listener, but it's someone that we're
A
not
random
familiar
listener.
Wow.
with. Which is awesome.
Is it because
It's
they saw how cute Michael was? They're like, we want you to ask this question.
maybe. But yeah, it's awesome that people outside of like our circle of friends are
For sure.
watching our content. So it's awesome. So the question comes from Angel. And Angel asks, is it possible to be a good marching educator without any DCI/indoor experience? And two, what are ways to stay motivated to keep up, just keep up practicing and all that stuff and get better. So
Man,
let's
that's
start
a
with the
really
first.
good question.
Yeah, let's start with the this is open to all of us. So
Yeah.
but let's start with the first one. Is it possible to be a good marching educator without any DCI or indoor experience? I
Who's
would
going first?
honestly, I would say yes, because
I'd say yes.
you know, Randall, you have 1 year of indoor experience, right?
Yes.
You know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that go for other jobs across, a bunch of high schools that have multiple years of that experience, and you still are a great and excellent educator at a well-known high school. So
Well,
I
thank
would
you. I
say
appreciate it.
I would say it's very possible. It's very possible as long as you have like the right connections, the right friends.
And also, I think mostly the right mindset. Like, that's the biggest thing. Just being... Because, like, any job is going to be, like, DCI, WGI experience preferred. But, like, not everyone, like, is able to do that. Like, because money-wise and travel experience-wise, like, it doesn't really matter. But, like, a lot of people are going to want that experience. But if you're, like, open to, like, the subject, like, if you know about drum corps or indoor, like, I think that'll help a lot with, like, trying to get the first job or just getting your name out there, as long as you're like notable about that stuff, it's like I don't think it should be a big deal.
And I think even having, teachers who have done the activity, like even
For
if you have a teacher that's done that, you're basically getting that same knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of sucks that how like that's like what people want.
Oh,
Like they want people who are DCI, WGI certified, but like what happened?
no, you're good. You're good.
Okay. It kind of sucks that some people are looking for that, but obviously it's like it's experience that most people want. But I mean, like, if you come from a place or you have friends that do it and you know a lot about it, then like it shouldn't really matter that much. I mean, the only reason, honestly, like I did Monarch that one year is because I did need some outside experience that wasn't Lamar University, you know, and I think I did learn a lot from that for sure. Like me and Shane back in the day next to each other.
Good times.
Learned
Oh my god.
the synth
I
bows,
forgot
dude.
about that.
Good times, man.
Oh my god.
We marched
Shane,
right
you're
next to each
there.
other.
I forgot about that.
Right
Yeah,
next to
yeah,
each
yeah.
other. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I learned a lot that year for sure doing it, but like I don't think that experience should matter as much as some people like have so much, they want that experience so much, you know. But I think you can definitely be a good teacher without having that experience.
And I will argue like teaching and playing is two different things.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And I think there's so many technique in teaching, like in terms of crossword management, obviously pacing, like rehearsal pacing, and like the clarity of instructions. Those are things that, you know, you kind of learn from watching, but you kind of need it for teaching, right?
Yeah.
Like if you never have any experience of teaching, like it's hard. You'll definitely struggle. There's always a learning curve. So I feel like, you know, if you just couldn't afford doing drum corps, then, you know, go teach and get those experience. But I'll also encourage you to, you know, go to the audition camp and listen to what the higher level people have to say, because those are also important information. Like you might not have the money to do it, but at this, you know, just go to their audition camp and see what they're looking for, and, you know, see if you could pick up a few informations along the way.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah, I think the audition camps are important. I mean, they teach the fundamentals at these audition camps, and just getting the fundamentals is probably all you need in order to just take your program in whatever direction you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the camp idea. Some of them are free too. Like, first camp's
Oh, yeah.
free, and then the second camp you pay like $100 and maybe you save up for it. You know, like set some goals. That's always good too.
100%. Okay. So, and then his or her second question. What are ways to stay motivated to keep up in your practice and all that stuff?
I think just like keeping up with the art itself, like watching YouTube videos.
Yes.
Like I did that a lot, to be honest, like just because I had friends like you guys who marched drum corps, and I would try to look up videos like, oh yo, is there videos of Shane ticking somewhere, where's this thing?
Okay. Okay.
So I would just like, and like I would just Google or YouTube videos and just watch them and just like know how like books go and how people write and how some corps like their style and stuff like that, you know, because like West Coast, East Coast, all that's like a lot of there's a lot of differences between the two, but like just keeping up with like the art itself, just like by watching videos, reading, even though I hate reading, but like there's a lot of stuff out there you can read. But yeah, just keeping up, like that'll help for sure.
Yeah, in my experience, I've always had a couple people that were close to me that pushed me. Like Michael, for example, is there. Mason has always, he's probably one of the closest friends that I've had at
Who's
Lamar.
Mason?
Yeah, whatever.
Mason, Six Toes Mason, you don't remember him, Michael?
Mr. Boston University.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh.
Boston University. Yeah, but I mean, him and I have always just like pushed each other to be better, and also like what Randall said, like not even just like marching percussion, but like I'll watch, you know, people play solos that I like, and I'm just like, wow, they're really good, and I'm not good. I need to practice, and it motivates me. So that's another thing I like to do, just like, you know, look up those videos and just get down on myself and then get back up and then go practice.
That's fair.
No, dude, for me it's Snarky Puppy. Like
Oh,
the percussion
okay.
section in Snarky Puppy. If ever I just feel like I don't want to do anything, I just put it on and try to figure out all the rhythms that they're playing at once, and it's just, yeah, just something fun. I like fun things
Yeah.
if I'm looking for motivation.
Gotcha. Cool. So, wait.
I think it's soup.
Oh, I didn't
Huh?
get to say me.
Oh,
I didn't get to
Michael, it doesn't matter.
Damn it,
You
right?
don't,
Oh.
Michael. Hey, what'd you say? What did you say?
What? I didn't cuss.
That's what I thought. All right, fine, go, Michael.
All right. For me.
Okay, so anyways,
think-
because move.
But I'm telling you, this happened every day at Lamar.
No.
I never get to talk. I never
Disclaimer.
get to express
Disclaimer.
my
Me,
feelings.
Michael, and Shane went to college together, so it's like
Yeah. Sure did.
they always roasted me and made fun of me
Oh.
everywhere I went.
Let's flip that around. Let's flip that around.
That's not true. Michael even lived with me for a week, and all he did was bully me. Like, he kicked.
No, back in the day, he would just came into the practice room and he'll be like, "Oh my god, you're still practicing velocity." Bro.
That's not true. I would
Well,
try to
there
get you
is
to
one
eat.
time-
Michael, I would just try to get you to eat lunch,
there is
dude.
one
You would
time
never
I was
eat.
Pooping. I was pooping. He went into the restroom and took pictures of me. I was like, what
That's
the
not true.
Do I need to?
That's not true. I never did that, Michael. I don't know
You might have to
why
cut that
you're
part
lying on this podcast right now.
People.
I don't know
We might
why
have
you
to
would be
cut
like.
that part.
We have to answer the question. There's a kid watching this, waiting for his question to be answered. We're talking about bathrooms.
Okay, Michael, go.
Michael.
Go.
Go ahead.
For me, I like to set goals, whether it's for competition or learning solo. Like, if I set a certain day to learn a solo, like a deadline, that will motivate me to actually want to practice. Like, for instance, well, recently, I experienced like, I'm just being lazy because of the whole thing and just being by myself. And I really want to finish learning the solo that I'm working on. So I emailed my professor and I was like, hey, can we have a lesson in 2 weeks? And then she was like, okay, cool. And then that become my motivation to finish learning the solo in 2 weeks, and I actually did it. So that kind of helped. So like the deadline, or doing competitions, like, oh,
Oh,
Yeah, great.
Wait, lose him?
competition.
Good.
That's what is the most. I did practice. Wait, what happened? Practice like 8 hours a day just because of the. Oh my god.
I know we got
What
it. I
happened?
heard it. I heard it. The
I
end. We
heard
got
you.
it.
I heard you.
For competitions. And you're
Yeah, practicing deadlines.
Why is that always me? It's always me. Okay. I'm tired of you guys. Let's move on.
Wait. I had
Wait,
something to
keep-
add on that. I had something to add
I
on
do
that.
too. I do too. Go ahead, Shane. Go.
So,
Okay.
deadlines, yes, and then also I like to, in my phone, because I'm sure we all have phones. I like to set a checklist, and I think like it goes off like 3 times a day. So it's like it's always reminding me every day a couple times, and it's like I go and it tells me, it's just telling me to check the list. So I check the list, and there's still stuff I have to check off, which is like what I'm practicing. So it's like, oh, okay, I gotta do this. So that's always something good. Just setting a checklist for you that reminds you every day, like practice this or whatever, So
Yeah. And also, like, the big part of that motivation is, like, you can't just be really good at, like, one thing. Like, you can't just be really good at playing. Like, you have to be really good at, like, listening to music and, like, also, like, writing music, I feel like. Because, like, if you know how to, like, understand how to write things, like, that could translate into your playing and help you understand how some things, like, are supposed to flow, That's what I feel like. Because, like, you have to be well-rounded in, like, those 3 things. Like, listening, playing, and writing, I feel like. To like be motivated to do things, because like if you're stuck on one thing for so long, you're gonna like burn out on it,
yeah.
So you really got to be motivated to do a lot of the 3. I feel like.
Yeah, for
Wow,
sure.
Great answer.
Okay. If you could change something from your first year of teaching, what would it be?
Man, when you sent me these questions, saying like they were hard. Like I actually had to think about them, and this was like
I would hope so.
these were one of the harder questions. This one specifically, because like you're teaching every day and like nonstop, and then like by the time the year ends, it's just like, wow, where did that go? Like you kind of don't even remember like the week before. Like I don't remember like where my days are sometimes, because like we do a lot of competitive marching band at Coppell, so like a lot of our weekends are taken up. So like we're doing like BOA, and like the next weekend we're doing UIL, and the next week we have like a drumline contest, and like every day it's just band. And so like thinking about like, cause like really during the fall, like the drumline is rehearsing after schools for like marching band obviously, but the middle schoolers are like doing stuff with their concert band, and then also working out of the book we are. And it's hard to remember like what you're doing the day before, the week before, the month before. So like one thing I would change, hold on, I wrote this down somewhere. Sorry. Oh.
Ding ding.
Unprofessional.
One thing I would change about the first year is like trying not to stick on something for too long. Like if a kid doesn't get it, then they're not gonna get it like as you want. Like I would try to like, oh, you don't understand this? Okay, we'll just keep doing it back to back and let's see if you understand it like 10 minutes from now. And it's like you can't do that because then the kids will lose interest and they don't want to do this anymore, and they want to be like, oh, the percussion's boring. We just keep doing triplets over and over. I want to quit. It's like, no, dude, you gotta understand triplets because it's like a solid rhythm. And then they're just like, no, I think I want to do like newspaper or something. And you're like, okay, you lost that kid. So like it really
Newspaper.
yeah, it's like that's one thing I would change for sure. Not like staying too long on one subject and just like trying to like move on, but like understand that they will get that sometime down the road and just not like try to shove it in their brain the entire time, you know?
Yeah, gotcha.
So-
Yeah, I
like
especially
that.
because I do private lessons, and I have a habit sometimes. Not I don't do it all the time, but I'll like catch myself after the lesson. It's like, man, I shouldn't have like stayed on that for so long, you know.
For sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's just really you can't stick on those for too long. That's one thing that's like the biggest thing I'd change for sure, because like by the time you finish one exercise, it's the entire class already. Like I only have 50 minutes with those kids, not even because like they gotta come in, say hi to their friends, set up their pad, and by then there's like 40 minutes left of class, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you gotta put up 10 minutes early because you gotta get ready to go to your next class, stuff like that. So like really I only have 30 minutes of instruction time. So it's like just try and get doing one exercise for 30 minutes. Those kids are not gonna like college kids are different because like they want to get it right the first time, but like these kids are younger, so it's like their mental capacity is nowhere near an older kid, you know. So
Yeah. Cool. So since Hope asked if you could change something from your first year of teaching, I guess a good transition into would be this next question: how do you balance your work and social life?
you don't. This was like one of the harder questions too, because like like I said in my last question, that we do a lot of like weekend stuff where the entire Saturday is taken up with a band contest or a drumline contest or something like that, and like the only day I really get to myself is like Sunday, and that's when like I meal prep for the week and I hang out with my roommates, and like I'm fortunate enough to have like coworkers that I like working with, so it's not really like a job, but it's like that technically is my social life too. Like those coworkers are my friends outside of work, and like it's cool that we have like enough balance to where I can balance that out with the coworkers and friends side. But
Yeah.
I mean, the short answer to that is like you have to know that you're gonna miss some things like with some weekends, and then like being able to spend time with people with what time you have, you know, like making the most of it. Because like I wrote something down that was like super
An intense quote.
yeah. Oh, it's like you have to be really good with time management, like because I used to never write things down in a calendar. Like I was like, calendar? No, that's lame. I don't need to do that. But like now it's like I do it all the time, and like without it I wouldn't know what to do, because like that calendar helps me know like when I'm needed where, and then like when I'm hanging out with the friends that are not school related, you know. So the biggest thing about balancing your social and work life is just time management, being able to know when things are, and like and using the time to like the fullest amount. So
Gotcha.
yes, sir.
How often do you find yourself not able to follow it completely? Yeah, like
Follow
you're
like the
stating.
calendar.
Yeah.
Not often. Well, wait, say that question again, Michael.
How often do you find yourself struggling to keep up with the calendar?
So I don't struggle that often because there's so much to do. So it's like scheduled out. Like we have like the entire week is like scheduled out for me, and like really the only day I have to worry about is like that Sunday where I have off. Like, oh, what time am I gonna go to the store to buy my groceries? That's like the only time I'm really struggling, to be honest. if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So is it like
Work
a
life and party.
so like the because there's so much to do in the work life, it just kind of sets you up already.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, like I said, like I'm thankful for the people I work with that I get along with well. So it's like I'm not like dreading it or anything, you know. So I mean, yeah, I would say that it's like if you have your things balanced out well, then you don't really like have to worry about balancing work life, social life, stuff like that. I feel like personally. So.
Gotcha.
And it helps that I have roommates that are have been my close friends for a while too. So like I get home, and then we joke about some stuff. I play with my dog, and I shower and go to sleep.
Cool.
I think this is such a hot topic. Like every time you listen to any variations of podcasts, like balancing is always like a big topic. Like how do you do this and how do you do that? And I remember asking that to my mentor teacher, and and she was like, so she just got a baby, and she began to not do as much teaching. Like she'll not try as hard on like that, but then she was like, this is what's important in my life right now, my spending time with my kids, and and I think everybody have a different phase. I feel like Randall right now is focusing so much on work, but I feel like eventually we will all get to the phase where there is something more important than school, there is something more important than music. So I think it always depends. I don't want to be too philosophical here, but yeah.
No, for sure. Like it's definitely a big question, balancing wise, because like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's like it was definitely hard at first, like when I first started. Like it was very hectic and like a lot of things were happening. You just have to get used to the flow and just be better about managing your time, because I'm not gonna lie, in college I was terrible at it. Like practicing was not my forte. So you can, so like if I needed to practice for like a recital or something, I'd do it like the week before, and obviously that wouldn't be enough time to do anything. So time management was not a good thing when I was in college. But like getting used to that in college or outside of college, like when you're in a professional atmosphere, it's like something that will definitely help you in the long run. Just time management.
Yeah,
For sure.
so you kind of already talked about this, but can you talk about more about when you're first starting working in a new area, how do you go about networking and meeting directors or educators around the new area?
Yeah. So yeah, when I moved to Dallas, it was like 100% new. Like I've been there like once in my life, and like I didn't know anybody there except for my roommates who were there already. But like in terms of like education wise, like the school wise, I knew nobody. So the biggest things were like first getting to know my coworkers, who have been there for like years before I have. And luckily they have like they went to college there, they grew up in the Dallas area, so I was able to get to know them. And then like just going out, not really like going out, but like we have to like judge like region and stuff, right? So it's like just talking to people and just getting to know them, because like I'm gonna be honest, I don't like talking to people. Like I don't like meeting new people. Like I like talking to people. I'm sure a lot of people are the same. Like they don't like meeting new people, but like to be known in the area, you kind of just have to like feel it out. Like talk to people who are in the same field as you are, because like when you're doing these like region contests and like it's like long hours, and then just sitting next to this guy you've never met before, it's like okay to start up like small conversations or something that you guys are like mutual in. Like something like, oh man, this Tiffany etude is the worst etude I've ever heard in my life, but I guess we gotta listen to it for the next 3 hours. So, just making jokes like that like
I'll
helps.
use that one.
Yeah, I'll make sure to write that one down. I'll use it.
Yeah, that's the thing. We always make fun of like these Tiffany etudes, but like.
Oh yeah.
Poor Hope, man. Poor Hope.
I know. Right?
Oh, sorry. Are you a Tiffanyist?
Yeah, aspiring. No.
I meant snare drum etudes. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Who
I
likes
mean,
snare
honestly
drum, man?
though, no shade. Sometimes I don't think people even remember what timpani are during those region contests. I'm like, oh, these poor kids. I think of hitting the timpani with like marimba mallets. Like, this is like, wow.
They're standing up.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
Dude, to be honest, it's hard for like the high school kid to get a good sound out of timpani. Like, it's rare. Like, hearing those like timpani etudes in that region behind the curtain, you're just like, yo, this kid is literally hitting in the dead center of the drum right now. It's like, it's so noticeable.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yo, this kid, God, dead center of the drum. And you just write that down. And just, you kind of just have to make like small talk with people to start off with. And then they'll get to know you, be like, oh, yo, that's that guy that make timpani's jokes. And stuff like that. So, I mean, like I said, it was easy for me because all of my coworkers are from the area, and that's how I got to meet other people and stuff like that. So, just connections, getting to know people was easy.
Do you ever have to find yourself have to ask questions or ask for help from art director, or you just ask your boss?
It's a good question. I like to sometimes just figure it out. Because, like, usually, man, I learn way more about what I'm looking at if I figure it out on my own than rather someone just telling me, you know? It's like learning a lesson from your parents. Like, if they tell you, be like, yo, don't touch that hot stove, you'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then you touch it and your hand burns, and it's like, oh, yeah, I can't touch that.
Yeah.
You know? It's like one of those things. Like, learning by yourself would definitely make it more impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if, like, it's something that, like, I need help with, it's definitely okay to ask like your peers, like, yo, what do you think, how should we teach this thing here, like, what do you think about this, you know?
Gotcha.
I like that.
Because I do work with some people that are older than me in terms of like years experience of teaching wise, so they already have like specific ways that they know work. So like I don't think there's a problem with like getting the experience from them on that, you know?
Yeah.
Nice.
So speaking of timpani etudes, like we did prior, and all that stuff. Hope, you want to cover for David on that second question that he had?
Oh, yeah. Okay. How do you ensure that all your students are well-rounded at an appropriate skill level? What would you do if a student seemed to be falling behind?
So it goes back to like the thing I talked about earlier about consistency and not trying to like ram it into the kids' heads, you know? Because like obviously some kids are gonna pick things up faster than others, you know? Like not everyone's like the same mental wise, and you really got to be able to catch that like at the first spot. Like it might take like a couple reps for them to catch on, but you have to take note of that because like that might happen like with exercises down in the future. So what I like to do to keep the kids motivated is because like kids at that age, you can't really compare them to each other. Like, yo, this girl's getting it over here, like why can't you do it? It's like, no, you can't really do that. So what I do is like I compare them to a kid that's older than them but was in their shoes not too long ago. Like, yo, dude, I know you're not getting this and I know you're not really motivated to do it, but this blah 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 kid in high school right now, he's a section leader of the snare line and he's really good at what he does, but he was honestly worse than you when he was your age. And I tend to say that as like something like, oh, yo, I'm better than this kid when he was my age, so that means I can be better than them when I get to their age, you know? Yeah. And like kind of that stuff motivates them to be like, oh, if he can do it, then I can do it, you know? And that really helps them like try to practice outside of like a rehearsal or something. And that just also helps them look up to the kids that are older than them. Like look up videos and just watch them play and like try to just like do what they're doing, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's so interesting though, because there's always, whatever instrument, there's always one or two kids stand out, and there's always one or two kids that you know they're gonna quit after that semester.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And then I always feel like, you know, always the biggest challenge is like, oh, how do you make them doing this, you know, have the same progression to make sure everybody have the same experience or similar experience, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hate to say it, but there's some battles you're gonna lose, you know? Some kids are just not gonna want to be as motivated as the other kids, And then like you can tell by a kid the way they're playing in class if they're gonna quit after that semester or not. Honestly, like the way they present themselves to like the other kids, like if they goof off with other friends, and then some kids like, no, dude, let's play these 8 on the hands, come on. And the other kid's just like, no, dude, I want to play flandrax off the left, man. And he's like, yeah, that kid's not gonna make it.
Oh, man.
So yeah, there's some battles you gotta know that you're gonna lose, and like some kids are just gonna be like, not there.
So
And,
what do you do at that point? Like, do you start looking in other areas to like
So there's kind of
other
like
kids, other
phases to it.
places, or
What do you mean, like different instrument or something?
anything? Just how would you work around that? Like, let's say you have some students quit. Like,
So it's like, I mean, so like the couple phases are like try to motivate them, and then like after that try to give them specific assignments. Like actually do, like what you tell them. Like, yo, work on this exercise like 3 times a week, and like each day like record yourself and stuff like that. Then watch it back, and like see if you can see any mistakes or anything. And then like I guess the next phase would be trying to like talk to their lesson teacher, because like a lot of the kids in our district take lessons, and then maybe their lesson teacher like can get that one-on-one time with them and like try to help them out with it. But like if they're still not motivated by then, it's just kind of like it's either you're gonna swim or you're gonna be left behind, dude. Like I feel like it's kind of hard because if they're not motivated, you can't teach them anything, you know. So there's gonna be that gap for sure. So luckily we are able to split the classes up in terms of bands. So like the middle schools each have like 3 bands, and like the better percussionists are in the top band, and then second band, third band, stuff like that, you know.
gotcha.
So they're kind of in their own little specific like pod, if that makes sense. In terms of talent wise, not talent but like skill wise.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right, well, that's a wrap on this one. Thank you, Randall, for coming out to the undergraduate. And yeah, we'll see you guys for the next episode, whenever that may be. All right.
How long does it take you to edit these things?